All right, so let's try and wrap up the pointillism video with the eyelashes and the eyebrow. What I would do first is I would sketch in the eyelashes, kind of give yourself a good idea where they've got to go. That way you're not accidentally repeating, the pattern of them. Remember I said when we drew it with the pencil, make sure that they're not all the same. Make sure some are kind of clumped together, some are going in slightly a different direction, some overlap. So I would sketch them in first so you get an idea where they're gonna go. Make sure those bottom eyelashes are coming off the outside of the eyelid and not inside where the waterline touches the eye. Draw a few of them in. I got that one too close to the eye. Make sure you're kind of looking at your model there. All right, I'm gonna draw kind of the shape of the eyebrows. And do you see how I dotted in like a value behind the eyebrows? Kind of like what value I thought the skin was gonna be. Okay, so I have kind of a general shape. And you're gonna erase these pencil lines anyhow. Then, instead of dotting all those individual hairs, on this one I might have to because the hairs are her eyebrows are thin, they're not very thick. On yours, you don't have this model as an option, so maybe your eyebrows will have obvious areas of dark, medium, and light. I would kind of outline maybe areas where the value is gonna change, like it's light there, it's light there. And then I would look at like what shape like the hairs are like taking, like which direction they go. And then I would fill in those values kind of following the pattern that the hair is going. But she's got thin eyebrows. I might have to do all those little eyebrows. Yikes. All right, do you notice how I left the highlight? Okay, I do have a kind of a spherical shading pattern going there. All right, now let's attack those eyelashes. Start where they come out of the eyelid. And I start kind of making a wide base, and then I start dotting my way up, and then kind of keep an eye, they cross the crease, and make sure that they trail off to nothing. Make sure that you don't like blunt end your dots. Like you don't want to go dot, 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 real hard, and then stop and look like there's like a blunt end. Make sure that you lift up your pressure and you kind of space them apart and you get that to trail off into a little point, all right? So same thing, I'm gonna go back, start real dark at the base, with like a little triangle, and then work my way up. And kind of trail it off to nothing. And this is where I also kind of decide, do I need to darken the shading where the eyelashes come out of the eyelid? Does the eyelid need to be darker, like down in this area? Okay, start wide at the base and then work my way up. Getting thinner, lighter dots as I go up. Okay, so I would finish that individual eyelashes wider and darker at the bottom and lighter and thinner as you go up and trail off to nothing. So the eyebrow, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna kind of start dotting some general like directions that those eyebrows are going. Give myself a good idea how I'm gonna lay all these eyebrows in there. they're kind of like, hers are kind of like elongated S's. They kind of go down and then they go up and over. My goodness. Some of them just curve up. Oops, that dot's a little big. Just kind of trail them off. These all curl up into that one and crisscross a little. Okay, so I would continue like that, just kind of laying in the basic like direction the clumps of hair are going. Then I would start looking at where they're darker, where they're thicker, where they overlap, and start adding more and building up kind of that tangled mess of eyebrows. And then as I do that, I'm kind of noticing I need to shade more on the head out here. Okay, I need some more values out there. Okay. Get those little hairs to curl under here. And I want to make some of them just closer together. I want some of them to be a solid line. Maybe they should start thin. Maybe they should get wider and thicker in the middle, and then maybe they should trail off again, thinner. Especially where multiples of them overlap. Goodness. Hopefully yours has more clumps of solid color. Yeah, so I'm going to be at that a while. So hopefully you can see. I'm just going to gradually keep going. There's not very many there. And they're pretty darn light. Like there's just couple little trails of hairs there. I'm gonna try and touch the paper as lightly as I can, but still make a line. Not crazy easy, that's for sure. Okay, and there's another one. And there's some darker ones here. More dots. Okay, take your time. I bet you I'm going to end up spending a lot more time on this eyebrow than I even did the iris. All right, I'll keep going, and then I'll post the final picture. But like I said, thick at the base of the eyelashes, taper them up to nothing, okay? Make adjustments to your eyelid. Like as I start adding the base of these eyelashes here, look how dark and how thick that is. I'm probably going to have to darken the eyelid in this area quite a bit to make those eyelashes look like they're thick right there and coming off of the eyelid correctly. And then make sure, again, I'm going to remind you, make sure these eyelashes on the bottom are coming off the outside of the eyelid, not this inner edge that touches the wet part of the eyeball. The eyelashes come off the outside of the eyelid. Okay, be careful about that. All right. I will show you my finished product. Just keep continuing like I was.